So my more macro view is that young people are inventing their own asset class, which is meme coins. A lot of people say that meme coins represent that the space is becoming dumber and more degenerate. I actually have the polar opposite view. My view is that I believe meme coins are an absolute pure expression of a free market. And of course, in a free market, there's going to be bad things. What you described, I think, is absolute cope because
Murad Mahmudov, aka Must Stop Murad on X, is a top meme coin analyst and a true Bitcoiner at heart.
He is also a builder at stfx.io, a Princeton alum. He's known for sharp market insights and bold predictions about meme coins' potential for big moves and community impact.
I'll explain my personal strategy and how I approach it. So personally, I've had the most success buying, these are kind of divergences that you want to, usually these are bullish signals. Not financial advice, do your own research, but look into...
This is probably one of the last critical points and questions I want to throw your way. In the end, meme cycle theory, super cycle theory, this theory, this is sort of the cult, and you Murad, you are the cult leader, you are the Memecoin Jesus. A lot of people rightly ask themselves, what if you ever leave and go away?
What I'll say is this, right?
Hey guys, so I'm back with another episode of Less Noise, More Signal. This time I have another special guest. It's Murad Mahmudov. I know him well from back in the days, like a lot of people probably as well. Did some amazing podcasts. So yeah, it's nice to have you on the podcast, Murad.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, man. Pleasure to be here.
Yeah, cool. Well, as I already mentioned, a lot of people know you from this excellent talk that I think you gave it back in 2018 or 2019, I think, or even earlier, 2017. Don't really recall. It's the ultimate argument for Bitcoin that you did with Anthony Pompliano. And I mean, you orange pilled a lot of us, a lot of my friends as well. And so I think some people have been wondering, you were disappearing at some point, just kind of vanishing also on X, and then a lot of people were like, oh, where has Murad gone? And now you've kind of made the return, so to say. And yeah, you're on everybody's mind. So maybe if you have some possibilities to share some of that personal story or insights there, what happened and why you have come back all of a sudden, that would be excellent.
Yeah, for sure. So I've been in crypto for quite a long time already. My initial exposure was in 2013 during the first time BTC touched $1,000 in November 2013. I was lucky to spend 2013, 2014 in China, where one of my friends was an employee number 4 at what is currently one of the biggest centralized exchanges. So he's the one who kind of gave me all the exposure. Took a break, worked in TradFi briefly, worked in commodities trading. And once 2017 rolled about, was by then already doing crypto full time. I realized this was the future in many different respects. Ever since then, I've been doing a bunch of different things, writing, on-chain analytics, angel investing, trading, obviously, and obviously like a lot of content creation as well. One of my ventures in 2020 was a fund called Adaptive Capital. We did quite well for the first 4 to 5 months of our existence, but unfortunately, we're a little bit overly leveraged during the COVID 2020 crash, and ultimately decided to shut down the fund after a negative 60% performance. I decided to take kind of a year-long break after all of that, but came back to the scene in 2022, building a DeFi protocol at the moment called STFX, but also involved in a lot of different meme coin things personally on the side as well. So that's kind of the story in brief.
Nice. Yeah, definitely great to get some insights here. Yeah, thanks. And it's just cool to hear that you're back because obviously you have some interesting takes, and these takes I would like to address today, mostly on meme coins and where this space is headed. So, and also how it kind of integrates with the broader world, and what's going on in our world, and how people are like maybe also subconsciously sometimes then driven by the forces that shape this world, and then obviously this kind of filters through into crypto. So very, very nice. So maybe my first question would really be, you said you are doing a lot of things on the meme coin side nowadays, and so I would be interested, like, can you give us your elevator pitch, for meme coins? Because I feel like a lot of people have heard of them, but they're still kind of scared and say, "Yeah, that's nothing I would ever touch." So why meme coins in the end?
Yeah. So there's many ways to think about this. There's many theories about why they're emerging right now. I'll outline just a few of what I think are the biggest forces. So first of all, just like BTC is a vampire attack on fiat and gold, you can think of meme coins as a vampire attack on altcoins. Um, you know, Back in the day, in 2015 and 2017 respectively, you could purchase um, Ethereum, Chainlink, and Binance Coin for roughly $30 million was the initial valuations, right? Now, a lot has changed in the space, and you have a lot of projects with zero revenue and zero users launching at $30 billion on day one, right? That's 1,000x difference. And, this trend has been amplifying in 2023, 2024. And obviously, it makes a lot of people angry. A lot of people are realizing that crypto, or in the context of altcoins specifically, it was never about the software, but it was more about the community and the token. And I think that is slowly but surely, steadily becoming consensus right now. And a lot of smart people are realizing that like 99% of altcoins that have ever existed for the past 10 years, they were essentially meme coins all along. They were meme coins with more steps. And ultimately, the actual product here is the token, not the software. That is the actual product, the token. And since young people, Zoomers, millennials, and smart retail overall are kind of coming to terms with all of this, they're realizing, why are we bidding up $25 billion day one launches where VCs and other players are up 500x already, instead of recreating ICOs, recreating NFTs, recreating DAOs, but all from day one at reasonable valuations? Because at the end of the day, community is the most important part of crypto. It's the most important part of any kind of uh, positive price action, any kind of positive results. And, you cannot build a strong community without poor people becoming rich. And if something launches at 30 billion, poor people are definitely not getting rich. They're getting extracted. And so, VCs have been playing what I call global IQ arbitrage for the past 10 years. And, a lot of people say that meme coins represent that the space is becoming dumber and more degenerate. I actually have the polar opposite view. My view is that meme coins, they actually represent the fact that the space is becoming smarter. It means that the space is becoming more mature. It means that the space is becoming more efficient. And meme coins are going to act as a checks and balances system to a lot of the altcoin growth that has been going. Now, this perspective explains 30% of the situation. That's kind of the theory from inside the industry. My also theory is, the second theory is that there are forces outside of crypto that I believe are also pushing meme coins to come to the forefront. There are a lot of different trends, right? So first of all, family formation is at an all-time low in the West. Religiosity is at an all-time low in the West. Loneliness, all-time high. Mental health issues, all-time high. And all of this is happening behind the background of inflationary pressures and global money supply constantly increasing, right? And, you have to look at the intergenerational divide to understand that in the grand scheme of things, millennials have very few assets and Zoomers have almost zero. On the other hand, silent generation, boomers especially, and Gen X, they control literally everything. Um, you know, so young people, they don't have as much political power, clout, status, or money as the older generations. And what is the one thing that younger generations are good at? Um, that's social media. So my actually more macro view is that young people are inventing their own asset class, which is meme coins, because meme coins are hyper optimized to thrive on social media, in the attention economy, on social media rails. And social media is one of the very few domains where young people rule, essentially, right? So we're essentially creating an asset class um, that is suited like to the only rails where we have any sort of power, right? You know, a lot of people think that meme coins are about gambling, and there's definitely that side to it as well. But my overarching view is that meme coins are more about survival. Think of it as kind of like a wolf that's finally pushed to the corner and he finally has to bite back. So, also like a lot of the younger people that are kind of into meme coins, they were quite young. They were quite young when BTC was undergoing its monetization, when the first couple of waves of altcoins were getting popularized. So they're essentially creating their own thing, their own sort of sub asset class, you can call it. And, wealth inequality at an all-time high. And outside the West, that's even worse. Same with income inequality. And, all of these 12, 13 different reasons that I've just described, both inside and outside of the industry, are essentially all pushing meme coins forward.
Mm. Yeah, it's, I mean, well explained. I mean, there's a lot of points that I would like to unpack and maybe kind of circle back to, Ali. Maybe the first thing, is this token as a product thing that you mentioned. But I think it has resonated with a lot of people because then you kind of unveiled it with just neatly saying, hey, the token is the product. So there first, I was kind of like asking myself, okay, what does this mean for the token? Like how do you still a product? I mean, it needs to be bought by people in the end. You have to make it appealing, and so what does this mean for the token then? How do you make it an appealing product? Is there anything to the token itself, or is it really like, yeah, the token doesn't need any fancy things in the end? It's just like building, as you said, the community around it, and so that would kind of be my question.
Yeah, so the way I see it is meme coins, they take the best parts of ICOs and the best parts of NFTs, put them together, and make a product that's better than both. What does this mean? In terms of the ICOs, similarly to them, meme coins, they usually start trading at a low price, which is fundamentally attractive to people. But more importantly, the thesis for meme coins is actually similar thesis to NFTs, but it's expressed in a much more effective and efficient financial instrument. Fundamentally, both NFTs and meme coins, what they are is they are tokenized communities. And the problem with NFTs, however, is that even in the case of successful NFTs, you have usually a situation where there's 3,000 holders effectively evangelizing 10,000 illiquid JPEG. But with meme coins, you're going to have a situation where you're going to have 1 million people evangelizing one single liquid token. And I'm sure you can already sense how much more effective and efficient that is. The other issue is that with NFTs, the notion of the floor price, it made it prohibitive for low income and middle income people to participate. And that kind of slows down the network effect. But here you can join whether you have $10 million or $1, you can join kind of like the movement, the community. And this is like much more friendly to all kinds of demographics. So ultimately, meme coins are going to go much more viral, which means that they're going to become much bigger in market cap as well.
Mm-hmm. I see. Yeah, but then maybe one question that I hear quite often, or like a counter argument, like people. I talked to Nick Carter just recently, a guy that's pretty well known in the space as well. He's a VC, nowadays focusing on stable coins and stuff, and he was kind of talking to me and telling me, well, this argument that meme coins are just fairer, and it's harder to scam retail, this is just like a fantasy, because he's saying, I'm a VC myself. I talk to other VCs. I know that in the end, like VCs are just as much in the meme coin space as in these other typical utility tokens, and so they can kind of exploit, they are the market makers. So VCs wouldn't be, or like meme coins wouldn't be there without them. So, and also then he points to the fact that you don't know like who's behind these memes, is there like a founder who's kind of secretly cashing out? So he was just kind of skeptical of this view. So I was wondering, what is your take there? Is it really fair, or is it a story that we tell ourselves just to make ourselves feel better?
I believe they are fair. And obviously VCs are involved in meme coins. That's not secret to anybody. They're pretty public about it, some of them. The issue isn't about excluding VCs. It's about fair access and equal access. Over the past 2 cycles, VCs have enjoyed privileged advantages in kind of pre-seed, seed, Series A, Series B rounds. But meme coins, they kind of diminish that aspect of the space. And now anybody can buy on day one liquid ad market. The most successful meme coins, they launched at like $50,000 valuation total market cap. And it's not about telling VCs to go away 100%. It's about having the regular guy at home having the same kind of conditions as a VC does, right? So of course there's going to be scams, but just like there were thousands of scams in the altcoin space, but there are dozens of ways to separate the scams from legitimate communities. There's a lot of analysis you can do on chain. First of all, no one is telling you to buy new launches that are 5 hours old. Always tell people to buy something that's been out in the market for several months already. You can measure decentralization, distribution, holders, addresses, interactions between wallets, bubble clusters. You can measure all of that on chain, and there are more and more analytics platforms that provide those kinds of services. Ultimately, I believe meme coins are an absolute pure expression of a free market. And of course, in a free market, there's going to be bad things, there's going to be good things. But in my opinion, there are relatively simple heuristics you can use to separate the non-scams from the scams. So just because VCs are present in this as well, and actually most VCs in the context of meme coins, they buy once the meme coin is already above like 100 million, which means that this time around, retail or smart retail gets to get in earlier.
Yeah, it's probably the same argument as we hear with Bitcoin. Bitcoin now, like now that the institutions are coming, like their retail got the opportunity to front run them all because they're only now coming with the ETFs and everything. So it's just maybe on a smaller scale, but it's the same argument. So that's for sure an interesting viewpoint. I mean, just quickly, because you mentioned there the heuristics, that you think there are some simple heuristics that people can use to kind of separate the wheat from the chaff. So can you maybe elaborate on a few of them that come to mind right now? Like how'd you do this? Yeah.
Yeah, I'll explain my personal strategy and how I approach it. So personally, I only like to, I've had the most success buying coins that are at least 3 months old. And better than that, even 7 or 8 months old is even better. Why? Because the longer something has existed and hasn't died and still has a vibrant community, the more likely it is to survive. Second thing is, for example, scammers by their nature, they are short-termist. They are impatient. They're looking for a short way out, for quick buck. If a meme coin has already existed for a year, for example, and it still has a vibrant community that keeps being active, that keeps producing media and content, then that means it, like with every passing day, it's less likely to have been a scam all along. Second of all, you can study the earliest blocks on chain and any interactions with the earliest wallets and earliest blocks to see how centralized the supply was at every single minute of the coin's existence. And there are tools that will help you measure a lot of these things. Bubble maps, holder scan, and a bunch of others that are going to be sort of providing you insight into a lot of these things. So the more decentralized, the better. I also like it when the community or the price action has undergone several negative 70% drops or more, because usually when that happens, the non-believers, quote unquote, and the short-term speculators, they get flushed out, and the long-term believers, they kind of get more of the supply, and then essentially, if the coin is to succeed, then it's going to go much, much higher, because the coin is now going to be in like diamond handed hands, right? So these are just some of the things that come to top of mind. Also, another good example is if price is going down, but the rate of social media activity is going up, or price is going down, but the rate of meme and video production is going up. Like, these are kind of divergences that you want to see to usually these are bullish signals.
I see. Okay, interesting. And how important do you think is probably the underlaying or under the layer beneath? So the blockchain itself, like, because that's also something which I think sometimes you can find a really neat meet with a meme, with an interesting community. But if like the underlying layer doesn't really have that much traction, then it doesn't make sense to go to this really layer one hardly anyone knows about, even though there might be a quality meme on this, then you rather flock to these layer ones which are like more top of mind. Is that also important in your view?
Yeah, this is exactly why I'm mainly focused on Ethereum and Solana. And the reason is there's a concept called idle wealth. Like on Ethereum, you have a lot of whales and just people overall that store their wealth in ETH or stable coins on the Ethereum chain. Similarly, you have that on Solana. There's a lot of people storing their wealth with Sol or USDC on Solana. This means that the potential pool of buyers and the potential community is much bigger. This is exactly what you described, why I avoid the smaller L1s, because the pool, like the economy essentially in which they exist, is far too small. That being said, I think most of the successful coins of the future are going to be multi-chain, but roughly speaking, I believe this cycle, you want them starting either on Solana, Ethereum, or BTC.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's an excellent point. This idle capital, so to say, which is just lying around, and then sometimes people have even forgotten about this, and then they see it in their wallet, and they're like, okay, yeah, now I just want to make it all back and dabble it into a few new coins, and that's exactly, if the capital is already lying around, it makes it a lot easier to can find its way into memes. So that's a great point. Maybe I want to come back to this philosophical talk, and just kind of, because you were alluding to this financial nihilism theory, and this also, it kind of resonates with a lot of people. It also resonates with me because, like, from a big picture perspective, I always had this belief, that whenever we went up the gold standard, it was kind of like the economic murder of God, that's happened. And then obviously you can quote Dostoevsky and Nietzsche, who kind of tell you that then all hell breaks loose, and everything is permitted. And that's why you also then maybe have to redefine the fundamentals, how you value things and look at things. So yeah, that makes a lot of sense that we kind of entered this monetary relativism area with financial nihilism at its core. But I was really wondering, like, this is this overarching, like, global perspective. What does it mean when we zoom down into the microsphere where people act? And what I mean is, like, obviously now we're in a bull market, it makes for a great story to kind of lay this out, and say, well, people might even be subconsciously motivated by all of this, But what happens if there is a bear market approaching again for crypto? Is it the case that this theory, is it gonna survive? Is it strong enough? Is it really the driver, or isn't it speculation that ultimately drives all of this? And once prices are not going up again, it doesn't help or it makes no difference. So that's what I'm wondering. Like, is your theory that, well, maybe, yeah, when we go into a bear market, things might go down, and memes, some of them will be going away, but the thesis as a whole, with another cycle that's coming again, memes will rise again. Maybe not the same ones, only a few of them, but yeah, how do you approach this? That's kind of like my question, that I'm seriously asking myself.
Yeah. So I believe that the meme coin supercycle has started in 2013 when Dogecoin got created. And if you look at the peak of 2017, we only had one meme coin, which was Doge. On the peak of 2021, we had roughly 3,000 meme coins during the famous dog season. Right now, we already have over 10 million of them. My view is that meme coins are going to continue all the way until hyperbitcoinization. And frankly, I think even a few of them will survive even into hyperbitcoinization. And what I'll say is this, right? I think goes without saying that 99.9% of meme coins are going to die, just like alts did. But I believe that Dogecoin, Flocky, and a couple of others have already proven that meme coins can be multi-cycle. And I believe that this time around, there will also be 3 or 4 new memes that end up being multi-cycle as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay, I see. Yeah, that's certainly something that you can argue. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, in the end, meme coins to me are also just a fact of like a world that's ever more hyper financializing, just because, as you said, there is inflation and everything. And so people, it's the same thing with me. Like, a lot of people are pursuing these tokenization efforts, where they want to tokenize everything. They want to tokenize sports contracts. They want to tokenize even people. We saw these human IPOs and stuff back in the day with social money and tokens. And so this is really just another iteration. It's probably the cleanest one, because here you can, hyper financialize the world, and memes play a big part of this, and stuff like Elon Musk with Doge, and now, with the election, that we're kind of showing this as well, that he's made a lot of money off of like positioning himself and just like memeing things into existence. So that's certainly something that you can see. So yeah, that's interesting. I mean, maybe I would like to ask you this question. I mean, it's also being discussed on X a lot, where people say, well, yeah, we have the story, we see memes, they are outperforming, but now, with Donald Trump taking office, with all these people, we will finally be able to come back to utility tokens, maybe even like some pseudo equity tokens. And this is what the industry was always about. And so memes will die out because now we can hopefully like do these tokens without being harassed as project founders and stuff. So what is your argument there? Do you see this as a valid theory, or is it just like, yeah, memes are not going to go away because of this?
Yeah, what you described, I think, is absolute cope, because none of the meme coin buyers, um, first of all, they don't care about politics. They don't care about regulation. That's not why we're buying memes. Second of all, even if it was a perfectly regulation-free world, people would still be buying memes. And the meme coin buyers, they're going to continue to buy memes regardless of whether Republicans or Democrats would have won. Also, DeFi tokens being turned into equity tokens would make them even more bearish. Why? Because most of their valuation is mimetic anyway. If you actually make their valuation purely tied to cash flow, then they should go down another 80% from here. So nobody comes to crypto to buy stocks. If we wanted to buy stocks, then we would just stay in TradFi. The reason people come to crypto is to find one of those parabolas that happen once every 4 years. And this time around, it's going to happen with memes. So regardless of any DeFi regulations, this is going to be a meme coin cycle. That's what I believe.
Mm. Yeah, it's a great point. That's also something that I was always grappling with, yeah, nice that finally we can do all these equity tokens and then apply all these models where we can actually value these tokens. But then if you take to the task of valuing these tokens, you figure out, well, a lot of them are, if you apply these traditional valuation models, they're highly overvalued, and because they don't have the underlying demand and stuff that's been driving them. So this is maybe something you don't want to wish for, because it could turn out rather bad, as you argued as well. But that's interesting for sure. Yeah, I mean, I have this similar view, also because of like now with Bitcoin, the nation state adoption speculation that is going on, and that's also something I wanted to ask you, if you feel that could be something that could be driving this cycle going forward. I mean, yeah, maybe we'll get this nation state run bull run, where politicians will then also start memeing and shit posting. And I think we already see, again, Elon Musk and these people are doing this. I think I also saw this graph where Senator Lummis, the one that's been sort of driving this whole strategic Bitcoin reserve thing, she's top of mind, when it comes to mindshare with crypto CT people. So this kind of also proves to me that, this would also only accelerate stuff, because then we get 2017 all over again. We had it in 2021 with celebrities, and this time we might have it with politicians and lawmakers, So what do you think of this? Like, is there any merit to this as well?
Yeah. So obviously nations getting involved would be super bullish. A strategic reserve would be super bullish as well. You know, the more open-minded governments, the more progressive governments, economically speaking, are dabbling in BTC, are definitely going to come out very like, they're going to come out with a huge advantage when all is said and done. Ultimately, I think the portfolio that I've been recommending to people, and of course not financial advice, but essentially my belief is BTC and top culty memes. That's gonna be the best two risk reward investments for the next year and a half. And I said that, I think, 7 months ago, and I'm still saying this today. And essentially, a lot of the wealth that was in alts is essentially flowing into BTC and cult memes. And I think this rotation is going to continue to happen. And I think the higher BTC goes, the better it ultimately is for memes.
I see. Okay. I mean, this is probably one of the last critical points and questions I want to throw your way, because you're now referring to these cults, and these cult memes and stuff, And there that's something I'm asking myself, are there actual meme cults nowadays, Because we do have Bitcoin, and I think it's formed into a cult, but it has taken a lot of years, to kind of formalize and really be like this actual cult, And now with this memes that we're seeing handed around, I mean, are they actual cults by now, or is it just bad? That's kind of like how do you measure if something is an actual cult already or turning into one? Like that. That's
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, so it's not a binary thing, like whether it's 0 or 1, whether it's a cult or not a cult. It's more like a spectrum. Call it a degree of cultiness, right? And the way I see it is, when we say the word cult, we just mean a very, very, very strong community. We've seen this with XRP, we've seen this with Link, we've seen this with Cardano. Very, very strong community. And coming back to my original point is that it's all about community. So when we use the word cult, we just mean a very, very strong community. Now, in the context of meme coins, like I said, there's already 10 million of them. So if you don't want to gamble, you only have two choices with meme coins, right? You either gamble on new launches, or you join 1 to 5 cults, right? And joining cults, I think, is still much better risk reward, because it's very similar to BTC. It's buy and hold mentality, multi-cycle mentality, because we're trying to build the next Doge, right? And I would say there's maybe 20 coins right now that can be described as cults, but even within those 20, there's different degrees. How to measure it? Well, first is something we call free cult labor. That's essentially how much free time and free energy does an average participant produce for the sake of the meme coin. And you can kind of get a sense for that on social media and in their Telegram and Discord chats, etc. Second of all, you can measure the levels of diamond-handedness of the whales, of the medium-sized holders, and of the holder base overall. Usually, there's quite a tight linkage between diamond-handedness and cultiness of the community. And, overall, you can have a cult if poor people haven't gotten rich, remember? And because of that, you can measure these unrealized profits on chain, and you can see what the initial investment of people was, how much they're currently up, and you combine all these variables to notice which ones kind of tick all of the boxes. So personally, these are the kinds of coins that I like to invest in.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah. And maybe just a follow-up question on this. What do you make of the argument that a lot of people, at least on X that I see, bring forth and say, well, I mean, in the end, the meme cycle theory, super cycle theory, this theory, this is sort of the cult, and you, Murad, you are the cult leader, you are the Memecoin Jesus, and you memeing everything into existence. And then a lot of people rightly ask themselves, what if you ever leave and go away? Isn't then the entire cult going away and gonna die, and we have this single counterparty risk? What do you say to these people?
So first of all, I'm not any kind of spiritual guru or anything like that. I'm simply a guy who's trying to identify outperformers for 2025, and I believe they're going to be the culty memes. Second of all, I only support communities that I've already seen were strong even before I joined those communities, right? So I want to add strength to what is already strong. And, a year later, when millions of people join the Memecoin supercycle, these things are going to be even stronger. And my personal importance will gradually diminish as proportions of all of these coins, right? So I think a year from now, it's not going to matter. I'm very transparent that I will take some profit in Q4 of 2025, which is 1 year from now. And I aspire to do exactly what I said I'll do. So yeah, I try to be as transparent as I can about kind of my plans and my actions.
Mm-hmm. Great. Yeah, that's certainly something that helps. And thanks a lot for facing all these questions. That's great. So I think people will appreciate this. So yeah, I mean, do you have anything else to add? Any meme coin alpha meta that you can share with us here? Or have we done everything already? Is there anything left?
Not financial advice. Do your own research, but look into SPX 6900, Giga, and Apu.
Okay, great. Yeah, that's good for people to check out for sure. Cool. Hey, Murad, thanks a lot for taking the time. I think people know you're on X. I'll link to your profile. Is there anything else that we can send people to apart from this? You have your own, maybe your company's website or something else that would be important to share?
Yeah, I think Twitter is best. I'm at Murad on Twitter. I usually post on there every day. So that's probably the best place to find me.
Yeah, great. Cool. Hey, Murad, have a great one. Thanks for taking the time, and I hope to talk to you soon again.
Absolutely. Thank you, man.
Thank you.